Hi, I'm Ronald Houston. I'm a professional violin and viola player, and the song that I'm playing right now is the Ashokan Farewell by J. Ungar, one of my favorite fiddle tunes. One of my passions is cooking barbecue, Texas-style barbecue. I've been doing it for a long time, and I even inspired my friend, master barbecue chef Alan Craig, to start barbecuing several years ago. Whenever I make brisket for people, I'm always asked, "Can I have your recipe for that?" And I look at them and kind of chuckle and say, "I don't have a recipe. I don't. I just make it. It's easy and it's fun. And the result, it is delicious." In this video, I'm going to show you how to make brisket in the Texas style. Let's talk about the preparation first and what we need. First of all, we need our brisket, our beef. So I go to Costco and I buy my brisket. I buy the whole brisket. You can get choice, you can get prime, or you can even get Wagyu. Today I'm going to be cooking Wagyu. Choice tastes great, prime tastes better, Wagyu tastes just awesome. Either way, it's going to be successful whatever you cook. Another thing that we need that's essential for smoking brisket is our wood. So I use chunks of wood like this. I buy them at Home Depot. I buy them at grocery stores. I buy them at specialty markets. I mean, wood is wood. This is hickory. I buy chunks like this. They fit in my smoker basket. Sometimes you have to cut them up a little bit. Comes in a bag like this. This one's made by Weber. This is hickory. This is pecan. Today I'm going to smoke the brisket with a combination of hickory and pecan. We're going to need spices to cook the barbecue with. So I use 5 spices. You really only need 2. The 2 that are essential are salt, which I use kosher salt, which I bought at Costco, and black pepper, which I also purchased at Costco. Then I have 3 other spices I use. I have granulated garlic, also from Costco, onion powder, and paprika. Sometimes I add cayenne to that if I want a little kick. One thing that's really helpful to have is a good meat thermometer. This meat thermometer is something I bought on Amazon. I looked up meat thermometer and found the one that Amazon recommended, and it's lasted me a few years. It's totally awesome. You just have to turn it on right here and then take this out. It has a little needle. You insert it into the beef or whatever you're cooking, and it immediately tells you what temperature you're at. When we cook brisket, we cook it to about 195 to 205 degrees. So when I probe the brisket, I want to make sure that I'm at the right temperature when I'm finished cooking it. Another thing that I find totally essential to use when cooking brisket in the smoker are my gloves. I bought these on Amazon. They're called The Barbecue King, the BBQ King. They are so awesome. They have a silicone on top of them. You can just hold the beef with it. You can pull the trays out of the smoker. You can use them for regular cooking. You don't get burnt. You don't get your hands too dirty. I don't cook a brisket without them. Pretty essential. A lot of the smoking of the brisket's going to be covered either with aluminum foil or with pink butcher paper. I bought the pink butcher paper on Amazon. You get a whole roll, and it's not too expensive, and I wrap up with that. We'll see that in the video later on when I'm wrapping the brisket. Aluminum foil is just fine too, and I also use that to line my smoker before I cook it so that it doesn't get too messy. And finally, you need a smoker. So, smokers come in all shapes and sizes, and they come in $150 or $200 versions, or they come in thousands of dollar versions. Really, it doesn't make that much difference. I'm going to recommend to you to get an electric smoker with some sort of a regulator of the temperature. In other words, I can keep my smoker at the same temperature all the way through the cooking process. I generally cook the brisket between 218 and 230 degrees. Depends how I'm feeling that day. Today, I think I'm going to cook it around 220 degrees, maybe 218. It really doesn't matter. You just leave it in there so long, it's going to cook no matter what. My smoker is called a smokin-it. SMOKIN-IT, a Smokin-it Model 3 smoker that I bought from a company up in Indiana or Michigan or something. It's totally awesome. But you can also buy a smoker in Walmart or Home Depot or Costco, all over the place, depending on your budget. Don't be afraid. What I did, I started off at one that I bought at Home Depot for about $179, and I used that for a few years. Once I got the hang of it, I kind of knew what I wanted, and then I ordered this smoker that I use now, the Smokin-it, online. Again, it doesn't really matter that much what smoker you use. It matters that you get smoking. The preparation. The first thing I'm going to do the day before I cook the brisket, I'm going to take my spices, the 5 spices, and sprinkle each of them onto each side of the brisket and then rub it in there. And then I'm going to put it in a big plastic garbage bag, close it up, and put it in the refrigerator overnight. You can buy really expensive rubs. You can make one mixing it together. I used to do all those things, but now what I do is I just take those 5 spices individually and just sprinkle each one of them on, rub it in, put it in the plastic bag, put it in the refrigerator, and the next day it's ready to cook. One thing that I find totally essential is to line the smoker with aluminum foil. I line the bottom of the smoker and I line the box on top of that carries the wood in it, so that when I'm finished cooking and all the fat has dripped down to the bottom, that all I have to do is take the aluminum foil off and throw it away, and I don't have to do a major cleaning job on the smoker every time that I cook it. I learned that after several years of doing a lot of cleaning. Okay, it's time to smoke the beef. I seasoned the beef yesterday. I've left it overnight in the refrigerator. I've lined my smoker, and now I'm going to fire up my smoker. Today I'm going to cook the beef at 220 degrees for about 22 hours, I've decided. I put the brisket in, and I just leave it there. I'm going to leave it there for 6 hours before I touch it. So leave the door closed and just let it sit there for 6 hours. People ask me, should I put the fat side up or the fat side down on the brisket? My answer is, it doesn't matter. I've done it both ways, and quite frankly, most of the time I forget that that's even an issue, and I just put it in the smoker. The main thing of this whole cooking process is get that beef in the smoker so we can enjoy the awesome taste after we're finished. Another question people ask me is, should I trim the fat off the beef before I smoke it? My answer to that is, it doesn't matter, because I've done it both ways, and both ways come out about the same. It just takes a long time to trim the fat. So today, I'm going to do it quickly. I'm not going to trim the fat. I'm just going to put it right into the smoker. Okay, the beef's been smoking for about 2 hours, and I'm just going to open the door so you can see the wonderful smoke coming out of the smoker. Generally, you shouldn't really do this, but just for the purpose of this video, let's take a look at how much smoke is inside the smoker. It's totally awesome and smells great. Okay, it's been 6 hours, and now I'm going to wrap the brisket. So all I do is I take a nice big piece of butcher paper or that heavy-duty aluminum foil, and I wrap the brisket. It doesn't have to be a perfect wrapping job. Just get it covered and then put it right back into the smoker and let it sit there longer. I don't change the temperature, just leave it at 220 degrees. I'm going to leave the beef wrapped in the smoker for another 14 to 16 hours. That means my beef is going to cook between 20 and 22 hours altogether. At the end of 20 hours, I'm going to open up the smoker. I'm going to take my thermometer and I'm going to probe inside all over the place to check the temperature. I'm looking for a temperature of between 195 and 205 degrees. 201 to 203 degrees is perfect for me. When you put this in there at that point, it's like putting this into butter. As you can see, the temperature here is 201 or 202 degrees. That's perfect. So basically the beef is all cooked. It looks great, and I'm going to turn the smoker temperature down to about 140 degrees and just leave it in there for a couple of hours before I eat it. An alternative to that is to take the beef out now with my gloves, wrap it up in a towel and put it in a cooler for a few hours. You can leave it for 4 to 6 hours if you want. It'll still taste great. Let's take a look at the finished product. It looks so good. Can't wait to try it. I'm going to slice the brisket up in 1/4 to 1/2 inch pieces, very simply this time, and serve. Let's give it a taste. I've got a few helpers here to help me with the tasting. The first is my beautiful wife, Amy. Let's take a look at her tasting it.
There you go.
Delicious. Heavenly.
Whoa, that's awesome.
I love it. So good, tender and moist. Just perfect.
I've also got my son here. Yes, today is Christmas, so that's exciting. Merry Christmas, everybody. Let's watch Russell here tasting the brisket.
How is it?
It's good. It's really good.
Awesome. And now I'll try it. Oh, that is so awesome. I can taste the lightly smoked beef. Tender. Awesome.
As you can see, this process is easy and it's fun and it's exciting because the result is the awesome taste of Texas-style beef brisket. Stay tuned for more videos. Next time I'll show you how to make burnt ends with the point of the brisket. And maybe I'll even show you how to make barbecue sauce sometime. Till then, happy smoking!